Hello, today is another momentous day with regard to Brexit. The withdrawal agreement which Theresa May negotiated was presented again to the House of Commons and was defeated this time by 344 votes to 286, a majority of 58. The first thing I should say is that I welcome its defeat. There was a lot of things in that agreement which to me were completely unacceptable, including the backstop. The backstop which meant that Ireland and possibly the whole UK could be tied in permanently to the customs union unless an agreement was made which would secure the situation with Southern Ireland. But the question now is, where do we go from here? Theresa May has said that her intention now is to kick Brexit into the long grass. So it appears that her intention is that we're not going to leave for a long time, which presumably means we're going to have European elections in May, and Brexit will be something which will be considered a long time from now. What are the alternatives? Well, the first alternative is that we leave with no deal. This can happen in two ways. Number one, we could actually leave today at 11 o'clock as was originally laid down. Why do I say that? Well, everything was enshrined in law. Some of this comes from what Gina Miller did when Brexit first started. She went to court asking the courts to rule that the referendum alone was not sufficient for the government to take Britain out of the European Union. There had to be an Act of Parliament. Following that, there was the withdrawal bill, which became the Withdrawal Act, which was passed by Parliament, which enshrined the 29th of March 2019 at 11 p.m. as the time we leave the European Union. So that's today. The question is, has Parliament changed the date? Now, in my view, they can only change it by bringing in a new Act of Parliament, which they have not done. So there's a distinct possibility that the date has not been changed. That's also the matter that we invoked Article 50 under the Lisbon Treaty. The Lisbon Treaty is enshrined in international law, and that provides for a 2-year period from when we invoked Article 50, which was the 29th of March 2017. Now, the question is, has that date effectively been changed? In my view, the European Union may well not have changed that date, because simply passing a resolution is not sufficient to overturn treaty obligations. So there are two ways in which it could be ruled by courts that we have actually left the European Union today. So that's the first point, and I believe there are likely to be legal cases. The official position is that the date has been changed and been replaced with April the 12th. That means that we will now leave the European Union on the 12th of April unless something else happens before then. Now, as I say, Theresa May's made it her intention to say that she's going to kick Brexit into the long grass. So something will happen and Brexit will be postponed. If she doesn't, then we will leave with no deal on the 12th of April under those proposals. But we will have to wait and see. Now, March the 22nd, the other date which was talked about by the European Union, is now completely off the table. That was only there as a possibility, if Theresa May's deal was passed, to give more time for it to be implemented. So it's not been passed, so that time won't apply. So the only dates now are the 29th of March, today, the 12th of April, and sometime in the future, with Britain holding European elections but staying in the European Union for the foreseeable future. The other things that are being talked about are leaving but remaining in a customs union. Now, this was something put forward by Ken Clarke, who is one of the strongest Remain people within the House of Commons. And it is quite clear that if we stay in the customs union, we will have to abide by all the EU laws. We will have to continue to pay into the European Union. We will be subject to the European Court of Justice. We will have to adopt the free movement of people. And this is the situation for Norway and Switzerland. So basically what it means is that in effect we'll be in the European Union but we won't be a member. Will be a situation as Boris Johnson described as being a vassal state. Now that's the deception which is also being put forward by the Labour Party, because the Labour Party are saying they support leaving the European Union but want to stay in the customs union and in the single market. That position, frankly, is nonsense, as I've described. So they are simply deceiving us. And when they said that they would take us out of the European Union but would keep us in the customs union, they were basically deceiving the public. The other option, which is being talked about extensively, is having a second referendum. Now, the only reason to have a second referendum now would be to stop us leaving altogether. And there doesn't seem to be a mood in the House of Commons, despite everything, to stop us leaving altogether.